Hello, it is Throwback, Thursday, January 10th, 2018. Steve Sipress here in my library, where I said, let's peruse through some of my older favorite books. And I mean older, not like books that I bought really old, like original books, but books that I've owned for a while. And came across this one, and I want to share this with you today. It was published in 1985, and well, you can't see it backwards in the phone. I can't read it, possibly, unless you're real good at reading backwards. I'll read it to you. It's called Bringing Out the Best in People by Alan Loy McGinnis. Now, this, How to Enjoy Helping Others Excel. This is a must for business owners looking to make the transition from solopreneur to starting to bring on staff. And bring on people, whether you're outsourcing or you have staff that you're working with in person. Jeremy Daly is here. Great seeing you. Speaking of someone who is growing by leaps and bounds in his business and looking to take on others, Bringing Out the Best in People, by the author of The Friendship Factor. Helping other people grow can become life's greatest joy, says the author. Now, I wondered if this is still in print. And so I looked it up on Amazon.com, and I saw that you can get a copy of this original paperback version for like $36. And of course, I bought it for like $1, because that's what books cost, paperbacks back then. But it is clearly worth more than $1. In fact, it's worth thousands times more than $36. And what it, of course, doesn't touch on, is that this works, of course, to motivate, of course, family members if you have kids, but it also helps motivate staff to perform at their best. But of course, it also helps motivate prospects to become customers, and customers become better customers, and to buy more often, and to stay longer, and to refer other great customers and clients and patients and members to you. So it's just a great book for learning how to work with other people and get other people to do things. And this was given to me back when I first, it was published the year I graduated from law school and had already started my first multi-million-dollar business. But back then, I was just not really good with people. It was a statistical sports game, fantasy sports. So, see, I'm describing it like it did 35, 40 years ago, when people hadn't heard of the thing. Fantasy sports, right? Statistical-based game, and that was great for me, an introvert. Statistics, the math, leave me alone and let me go through all the calculations here and figure out the rules of the game and the this and that and add it all up and write the newsletters and get it all out there and report on the games and all that kind of stuff. Dealing with the customers was not my thing. So after I screwed that business up, I got involved with some people that were building businesses, and it happened to be a multi-level marketing company. And one of the first books they suggested is, man, you need to read this, because I needed to learn how to get along with people, because nothing great has ever been achieved alone. So to all you solopreneurs out there that think, I'll do it all myself, that's good for a startup. But you're going to get stuck. You're going to get to a spot. Toby is here, great seeing you, where Toby can tell you what I was like when Toby, you didn't even know me at the very start of my door-to-door sales career, but he knew me about 3-4 years in, when I had screwed up one of my businesses by losing all my guys and not managing them correctly, and went back for what was known as retraining. And Toby was there, and we hung out a little bit, and Toby, who's the total opposite of me, he's great with people, and everyone loves Toby. And so whatever I'm talking about, Toby, you probably don't need this video. In fact, you definitely don't, because this stuff you're great at all this stuff. But for me, I needed to read it in the book. And so for those that are like me, that are more introverted and not great with people naturally, let me just, I'll share just right here from the beginning of the book, before the even acknowledgments, McGinnis. Now, but by the way, before I forget, when I looked on Amazon, I saw there's a third version of a book with the similar title by a different author. It's a different book. And I'm sure that book is fantastic too. The reviews said it was all great, and it's the third edition, great big seller, and I'm sure that's great too. So, I live in an and world, not an or world, as you hear me say a lot, so why not get them both? But this is the one I've read, and this is the one I'm recommending, and I'll leave you with this. Oh, Jeremy is saying my favorite live video. Here we go. What did I do now? My favorite live videos are the ones you make book recommendations. Oh, I thought you were going to say the ones where I, do something ridiculous, because those are a lot of people's favorites. But very good. I will do that more often. Thanks for the input. The ones where I make book recommendations. Well, I certainly have several books of which to make recommendations from. And this is just some of my library. A lot now, by the way, I have done what probably most of you have done out there. I'm late to the party. Is I have a lot of my books on the Kindle version. And so in a online reader, PDF format, whatever. But I kept the classics like this. I kept books that were written by me. I've written chapters in. I'm named in the books. I'm named in the acknowledgments, or I'm named somewhere. There's chapters on me or chapters by me. I've kept all those personal books. I've kept the classics. And that's about it. Otherwise, I realize I'm getting the Kindle version of the books, and I gave away hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of my books, and I've replaced most of them with the online version. And Jeremy says, your coaching has definitely helped me through many, many obstacles and challenges. Very kind word, very nice of you to say. And I like the fact that you put in there helped, because you, my friend, get all the credit, because you're the one doing it. For instance, I've coached thousands of people. I've recorded hundreds of these videos, and not everybody does anything that I suggest. You, on the other hand, are doing things. You're taking the action. Okay, enough about you. Loved it. Okay, so 12 rules that this author, Alan Lloyd McGinnis, shares. 12 rules for bringing out the best in people. See how many of these also apply, although he doesn't talk about it, from what I recall, not at all in the book. They apply to sales, to motivating people to do what you want them to do, in this case as employees or as staff or as family members. But also some of these apply to sales. Think about it. And of course, this is a big influence on how I came to create the WOW strategy. The first letter, the W, standing for the who you want to do business with you, because it's all about them, not about you. So here we go, 12 rules. Number 1, expect the best from people you lead. Number 2, make a thorough study of the other person's needs. I will add to number 1, by the way, I forget who said this, but it's a well-known saying, you might know it, but you want to expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Okay, I always expect all of my clients to do spectacular and have unbelievably results and change their lives and transform and do all kinds of stuff. But I'm prepared for the fact that a lot of people just won't change, won't take actions, won't take a risk, won't do something out of their comfort zone, and they actually won't get the very best results. So I expect the best, but I'm prepared for the worst so that it doesn't kill me. It used to, before I read this book and others, it used to kill me when people I was managing or teaching or leading were not getting the greatest results and they weren't doing what they should do. It used to kill me. And you've heard me say it a lot on these videos. I had an early mentor in my door-to-door sales days who pulled me aside and said, Steve, you can't care more about other people than they care about themselves. Cut it out, snap out of it. I still haven't. I still get bothered when people that I'm coaching and helping don't get unbelievably spectacular results. They don't take the right actions. It kills me, and it shouldn't. Life should just go on. Anyway, that's number 1. Number 2, we'll go through the rest of the list a little quicker. Make a thorough study of the other person's needs. Bingo, the WOW strategy. 3, establish high standards for excellence. Establish high standards, of course. Number 4, create an environment where failure is not fatal. My goodness, sales is all about. Sales and marketing. You hear me say it a lot. It's about testing. Testing, which is a euphemism for failing. You're going to put out 8 different versions of something. In other words, you know what? At least 7 are not going to be the final one you're going to use. So failure is great. Take action. Number 5, if they're going anywhere near where you want to go, climb on other people's bandwagons. Love that one. Number 6, employ models to encourage success. I have all kinds of systems and models that I help people, and I share things that I've done. I was talking to Jeremy the other day and sharing things that I've done to help him take exact steps that I've taken. And of course, he'll modify them, he'll improve on them, and he'll do it better. He'll do it his way. He'll do it what's better for him. But I gave him a model for what he wanted to accomplish. And right away, I knew right there on the call, he took it to a higher level. It was like, man, that's a great idea. I'm going to do this too. I'm like, well, I never thought of that. But I did employ that model to encourage the success. Also helps when you have superstar clients. Number 7, recognize and applaud achievement. I guess I just did that. Way to go. Number 8, employ a mixture of positive and negative reinforcement. Right, carrot and the stick. You don't just slam people for every bad thing they do, and you don't just shy away from that and just be a cheerleader. Have a mix. Number 9, appeal sparingly to the competitive urge. Interesting. Also interesting in the sales world. You want to encourage competition and people to beat the deadlines. And I'm a B2B marketer. I help business owners and want to help them to beat their competition, but not really. Much more that I preach for people to work with who they think now are their competition, to adjust that thinking and therefore tamp down that competitive urge and work with the people together. So much more can be accomplished with so much less time, money, and effort put in. Number 10, crap, I just said that. Number 10 is place a premium on collaboration. There you go. So 9 is appeal sparingly to the competition, the competitive urge, and 10 is place a premium on collaboration. Instead, I'm such a huge fan, you'll hear me talk about it all the time, about cooperation and collaboration, not competition. Again, so much more can be accomplished with so much less frustration, time, energy, and money when you collaborate with people, even if you think they're your competition. You want help with that, by the way, go to helpfromsteve.com, and I will help no matter who you think is your competition. I will help you see them as someone you ought to be collaborating with instead. Number 11, build into the group an allowance for storms. Talk about that a lot as well, right? Life of an entrepreneur is a roller coaster ride of ups and downs. It's not a straight line. There are storms all the time. So obviously that's built in. My favorite author, Scott Alexander, of the Rhinoceros Success books, why you see all the rhinos here, because he talks about rhinos have 2-inch thick skin. And when torpedoes hit them, it's a little tick, and we just move on. So we've made allowance for storms. We got 2-inch thick skin. That's a pretty good allowance for storms. And number 12, take steps to keep your own motivation high. See, that comes from the world that you've got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others, right? The old, now I think people hear it a lot, but it's what you hear whenever you get on an airplane. And they say if those oxygen masks, if in the rare event of a loss of pressure in the cabin, those oxygen masks will drop down. Put them on yourself first and then help the little children and others around you. Okay, that's what Alan Lloyd McGinnis is saying here in his 12th rule. I'm going to read it again. What did he say? Bueller? Anyone? Why did I do this? I closed the book. Now I wanted to repeat the 12th rule. And one-handed, I'm having a real hard time with it. There it is. Take steps to keep your own motivation high. That's what I'm talking about. Keep your own motivation high. That will transfer to other people, as Zig Ziglar defines sales as the transfer of enthusiasm. Okay, so Alan Lloyd McGinnis talking here about motivating staff, family, others. Again, that's one that I really feel applies to sales. You're motivating others. Well, you got to motivate yourself. I've been a sales rep, and many people out there have sold stuff for other people, and it's a common saying. I hope you know that you've got to be sold on your product or service before you can sell somebody else. Again, that's from Zig, the transference of enthusiasm. If you're not sold on your product or service, my goodness, get a different product or service. What the heck scam are you running if you don't think your product or service is unbelievably excellent and yet you're convincing other people to give you money for it? That sucks. Don't be that guy. Cut that out. Okay, keep your motivation high. Be totally sold and excited about your product or service. You'll transfer that enthusiasm to others. And when you're motivating others, if you get up and you go into work and you say, oh, it's Monday, I hate Mondays. You go, what do you expect your staff to do? What do you expect your prospects to do when they call? If you're like, oh, the phone's ringing, it's interrupting me again. I used to do that one. Oh, I hate this. Yeah, what? What do you want? Like, what are you doing? Keep your motivation high. And Jeremy says, nice Ben Stein. You like that? Bueller? That guy has a lot more hair than me. I think he still does, and he's like 80. Anyway, and I'm not talking about Ferris Bueller. I'm talking about Ben Stein. Anyway, that'll do it. This one will go back on the shelf in the section that I have for some of my most dog-eared, torn up, highlighted books that are of this size. This is an old size for paperbacks from about 30-something years ago and longer. Nowadays, they tend to be larger, but those old small books, I got some more small ones over here in another section of small books, and I'll be sharing some more book recommendations in future episodes. Hope you will be with me then. Everett Farnell is here. Great seeing you. I will see you in person. I cannot wait. In about a week, in less than a week. How fantastic is that? And that'll do it for today's episode of Throwback Thursday. Thanks everyone being here live. Thanks for watching on the replay, and I'll be back tomorrow on Foundation Friday with a foundational business building tip to help you make more money and have more free time at the same time. Yes, that's how it's done when you're doing things right. Hope you'll join me then. Thanks for being here today. Over and out. Bye-bye.